Alright, hey everybody. Wanted to give you a little kind of walk around the backyard and show you what's happening out here on the little urban homestead. Alright, let's go. Got a lot of our annuals planted. That's Paula's forte into the gardening world back here. So all these are hers. We put a little annual in a nice little wheelbarrow there. Gives a little focal point of color. And we got our peppers. You can see there's quite a few peppers coming on here. A lot of pop-ups from last year. We got a lot of tomatoes that are popping up here. Another one over there. I've been battling the slugs pretty good this year. You see our green beans are starting to come in. We got quite a few peas on that one there. Our squash over here is doing really well. This box, I don't know if you guys if you've been watching the channel, this used to be tomatoes for the last 2 years, and so this year I just put squash in this box. So you can see there's a lot of flowering going on. I don't think I have any fruit set yet on these, but over in this box I do have a couple of zucchini. Let's see, there's one down there. It looks like there's another one down in that one. This one's been in the ground about 2 weeks longer than the other one, so. And there's one down there. Got a lot of tomatoes forming. We got our first red cherry tomato over here. And then we've got our succession beans coming up down here. Right through there. And these peas are doing really well. We've been getting quite a few peas off of this trellis. So Paul and I have been snacking on that. The tomatoes are starting to really form up good on these. We got a lot of apples this year. This is our September Fuji. So you can see there's apples there, apples all over the branches back here. Really like that. The raspberries, they're coming on. Strawberries are just going nuts in our yard this year. Paula's already harvested, I believe, 4 quart bags. And she used one of them to make some these little strawberry pies. They're really good. So we had that for Father's Day today. And we've got our wildflower mixes in here. And some tomatoes. There's the azaleas that I propagated from last year. There's some rudbeckia. There's some not basil. Lavender. Lavender I was propagating, so I just kind of stuck it out here because I got tired of doing it inside. So if it survives, it survives. I wasn't too worried about that. Here's some better examples of the ones that I've propagated that have really taken off. So we got 3. And this one here's doing okay. This one here looks like it's doing okay, and that one there, but those were from a different batch that I had, and I didn't really worry about those. Let's see, what else have we done? Oh yeah, yesterday trimmed all the neighbors' trees that were hanging over our fence, so I had to cut them off at the property line. I don't go back into the neighbors' properties to saw off the dead limbs. I figured, I'll let those dry off and die on their own. But you can't really go back in people's property and chop off things even if they look ugly from your side. So I just leave that, or forced to leave it. Let's see, this apple tree, this is a Golden Delicious. A lot of apples on here. And we got our peach. I did a peach tree trimming. I had to cut off the one other leader branch that was right there because it was starting to hang down over our patio here and block off the garden boxes, so I decided to single that one off. And then you can see there's quite a few peaches up there, and I've been, of course, the Pacific Northwest, you've got to battle the peach fungus, so I've been beating that back with the neem oil, and I'm going to do probably 3 sprayings of dormant oil spray on this tree this year. And then the peach trees up there, they're going to disappear, and well, they're not going to disappear, but they're going to get cut off, cut the tops off, and I'm going to graft on apricots and some plums that we've got in our yard. Let's see, those are some of the wildflowers we got. Here's some more tomatoes. They're setting fruit. and they're flowering nicely. You can see there's some fruit set back there. Cucumbers. And on the other video, the cucumber plant that I have, I'm going to be putting in here next to that one right there, because I did throw some seed in here and they're starting to grow, but I wanted to get a little farther head start because the slugs killed that one off, and then the slugs killed one off there. I'm nursing that one back to health. This is that pear tree that I grafted this last winter. You can see one of the grafts took, so I'm happy to see that. And then these other ones I'll just eventually cut off, you know, later this summer. But we got one of the grafts to take. And then I'm leaving these on here to make sure, in case something happens to this one, the whole rootstock doesn't die. And then, you know, next year, as this one grows bigger, I'll cut off all these suckers down below. And this tree I grafted from that Asian pear. So now this is going to become another Asian pear just like that. There's some more wildflowers. Sounds like our neighbors have some company up there, so probably won't be doing a walk around the backyard up there. But all the other fruit trees are doing nicely up there. You can see that apple tree. I'm espaliering that limb there, and the one on the other side. That's the pink lady apple. I'll walk this way. That way I don't go and invade their privacy. You can see I'm doing a little espaliering, I guess that's what you'd call it, for the apple tree back there. You see there's the limb, there's the other limb going that way, and then the top is going to go that way, so I'm going to get some more lateral branching, so that way I'm going to hopefully train it this year on these lower branches to give me some more apples, because on there you can see, I don't know if you can see it from here, there's probably about 5 apples on that tree, and that's the first time that one's been fruiting on that limb there. I don't think there's any on that limb that's I'm espaliering on that one. That word's tongue twister. Our fig tree up there has 5 figs on it. That's the first time that fig has had any figs on it. Fig has had figs on it. Fig tree's had figs. Let's see, what else? You know, the lilac bushes in our yard, they did not flower this year. And that's very odd. I've never seen that in the few years that we've actually had those in our yard. Let's see, what else? Oh, I could show you the sort of espalia technique I'm using on those 2 columnar apples. Because those 2 columnar apples were basically growing right up behind that Golden Delicious apple tree there. And I wanted to try something a little different and give it a kind of a weird new look. As to where now you have the one tree in the center that'll branch out, and then you have these two columnar apples that are going to grow out and over the top of these garden boxes, and then they'll send out shoots vertical on that, and then I'll have, you know, kind of a double yield, because it'll start to grow more limbs out of the base and then up into all angle, and so it'll almost be like a fan effect. So I think that'll look kind of cool, because you don't see people do that with the columnar apples. And you can see there's already 2 new leaders that have come up and going that way. So what I'll do is I'll just start all curving them over, and it'll almost be like a fan shape. I think it'll give a kind of a cool little look when you're sitting down on the deck and looking out at all the apples. And there are quite a bit of apples on these this year. So you can see this Golden Delicious has a lot of apples, and it's been doing a lot of self-pruning. I haven't taken off any of the apples on this tree yet to thin it out, but there's been a lot of self-pruning. You can see there's apples down here on the ground where the weaker ones, they'll just self-prune and they just drop off right into the raspberry patch here. You can see there's a lot of raspberries coming on that are turning, so that's nice. And these columnar apples, they have quite a few apples on them. This is the green one. So trying to see if there's any further up. I don't know. I think this one only has them down on the lower part right now, but this one has them all the way up. So like there's apples up here, bunch there, bunch there. So we're going to have plenty of apples coming this year. I did have to put bird netting over all of our blueberries because they started coming in. We just had some stellar jays. They're like a bluebird, and they were coming in and picking off the blueberries. So now I got some netting over the top of this. You can see we've got a huge load of blueberries on there. That's our neighbor calling their dog. Here's a pear tree. Got some more wildflowers down here. And you can see the load on the blueberries this year is just huge. It's going to be a good year for us to have blueberries. Let's see, I don't think this Espalier pear that I've been doing for the last 2 years, I thought there was at least one pear on it. We got a huge load of almonds this year on this tree. You can see this tree's just loaded with them. So we're going to have quite a few almonds to roast. And then this is our Gala apple. This has been a great producer, and it's a compact tree. The only problem with it though is it likes to curve, and for some unknown reason it doesn't curve towards the sun. It's on the majority of our yard. It's been curving that direction, so I've got a couple of the limbs that I've tied back over this way, just so that way I can train it to get some more growth on this side of the tree, because I had to put a stake in there last year because the thing got so heavy with fruit and everything on that side of the tree that it started tipping, so I had to pull it back this direction. So that kind of corrected the issue, but I want to try to help it to naturally grow that direction. Here's some more of our, there's some parasitic wasps. Those are your helper buddies in the garden. They're aphid killers. So we like to put out all these attractant plants along with our wildflowers to bring those guys in, because they decimate your aphids. And we haven't had any aphid problems on any of our plants this year. Looks like the mint's doing well. Just in case you're wondering what that fan is, that's the fan I put in for doing the under-house grow area. So that way it vents out the hot air inside of the house and pulls cold air through the vents that are along our foundation. So it'll pull cooler air from under our decks and the areas that are shaded, and then blow it out, the hot air, out to the outside here. So that's some of the fans that you'll hear when you're watching my videos from the indoor. And we got our apple here. This is a Liberty apple that I grafted onto a rootstock. That was a Red Delicious, and I grafted on a Liberty apple cutting, and so it's a good 3 feet now. So it's going to be a nice tree here. Our grapes are doing really well. Looks like I got some more vines I need to train over here to the trellis wiring. Let's see, I don't know if we've got any fruit set yet for the kiwis. We did have flowering. I don't see the fruit. Oh, there we go. Right there. That's a little tiny kiwi fruit. So we might get our first kiwis. These are like a little mini kiwi. They're, probably about that big. So Paula's excited for those because those are really good. But you don't want to eat too much of them because they have a lot of fiber in them. And if you know what fiber does to you when you eat too much. Here's a strawberry patch down here. We've got a lot of strawberries off that already. We got our male kiwi here. That helps pollinate the female. More grapes, and then the kiwis also go in that direction. There's our blackberry. You can see we got a lot of these are thornless blackberry. So you can see we got a lot of blackberries that are going to be forming on here. This is looking great. Looks like we got some dead limbs here to trim off. Or runners. Yeah, there's a lot of blueberry or blackberries on this. Good stuff, guys. This is another apple. We haven't got any apples set on this here yet. Maybe still a few years, maybe next year. I did prune this one pretty good last year though, so maybe I trimmed off all the fruit budding growth, so that can happen. But that's okay. We got plenty of other. Here's our currants. These are a white currant. We're gonna have a lot of the currants coming off of this. I mean, you can just see, look at all those currants back there. Those are really good in smoothies. I think that's kind of it, guys. All right, well, that's kind of a walk around the backyard just to give you a little look. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. This was on the deck last year, right over there, where we got our little potted plant where Paul's got one of her vining bushes, but these are all bush beans. And so each one of these has 2 bush beans in it, except for the top one, it has 3. And these are going to be a nice, easy harvest area for when you come down off the deck, right down here, and you can just come and grab a whole bushel full, harvest a bunch of the beans, take them inside, and Paula can cook one of her wonderful meals that she makes. Okay, well, I think that's about it. All right, guys, this has been Brian from P&B Homesteading. Talk to you again. Bye.